The night air was crisp, carrying the distant echoes of city life. Cars rumbling, sirens wailing, and the occasional chatter of people heading home. But here, on an old, dimly lit outdoor basketball court, the only sound was the rhythmic bounce of a ball against the cracked pavement. Shaquille O'Neal had just finished an event at a nearby stadium. As he pulled out of the parking lot, something caught his eye. A lone figure moving across the court with effortless speed and precision. Before we continue this story, let us know where you're watching from. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the channel, because tomorrow we have another special story for you. Shaq slowed his car, watching. The young man, lean, athletic, but clearly worn down by life, moved like he belonged in the NBA, not on a deserted street court at midnight. He shot, pivoted, rebounded, practicing with the kind of intensity only someone desperate to prove something would have. But then Shaq noticed something else. His shoes were torn at the soles, barely held together by duct tape. His jacket was too thin for the chilly air. And on the sidelines, a small backpack, his only belongings. Shaq exhaled, gripping the steering wheel. He had been that kid once. The ball bounced away, rolling toward the fence. The young man jogged over to retrieve it. And that's when he noticed the giant figure watching him from across the court. He froze. Shaq stepped out of his car, towering under the streetlight. The kid's eyes widened as he recognized him. Shaq tilted his head, crossing his arms. "You're out here alone at this hour?" The young man swallowed. His voice was quiet. "Ain't got nowhere else to be?" Shaq studied him for a second. There was something in his eyes, determination, exhaustion, and something else? Something broken. He nodded toward the ball. "All right, kid, show me what you got." For a second, the young man hesitated. Then he grabbed the ball, took a deep breath, and the game began. And neither of them knew. This was about to change everything. The ball cut through the cold air. Swish. Shaq raised an eyebrow. The kid was good. The young man wiped sweat from his forehead, gripping the ball. Shaq had been testing him, forcing him to adjust, but he never backed down. "You got skills," Shaq said, tossing the ball back. "Where'd you learn to play?" The young man hesitated. "High school." Shaq frowned. "Used to," the kid exhaled. "Got cut senior year." His voice dropped. "Not 'cause I couldn't play, because I didn't have anywhere to live." Shaq's chest tightened. "My mom left. My dad tried. But one day, he just didn't come home." His grip on the ball tightened. "I started sleeping on couches. Then I ran out of couches." Silence. Shaq had heard stories before. But this was different. "You still want it?" he asked. The kid's eyes flickered up. "What?" Shaq held his gaze. "The dream. Basketball. A future. You still want it?" The young man swallowed hard. Nobody had asked him that in a long time. Slowly, he nodded. Shaq smirked. "Then stop playing on cracked pavement and start training like someone's watching." Because someone was. The streetlights buzzed overhead as the night deepened. The young man, still catching his breath, wiped his hands on his hoodie. Shaq had pushed him harder than anyone ever had. His legs burned, his lungs ached, but for the first time in a long time, he felt alive. Shaq crossed his arms, his towering frame almost blocking out the city lights. "All right, kid, you've got game, but raw talent ain't enough." The young man nodded, still unsure where this was going. Shaq took a step closer. "You want a shot? I'll give you one." The kid's eyes widened. "You serious?" Shaq nodded. "I've seen guys like you before. They had the skill, but no one believed in them. I got the resources. You got the fire. We put them together?" He smirked. "Who knows?" The young man inhaled sharply. He had stopped believing in second chances a long time ago. "What's the catch?" he asked, voice cautious. Shaq's expression hardened. "You don't quit." The weight of those words hung in the air. "You show up. You train. You put in the work. No excuses." The young man looked down at his hands, rough, calloused, marked by years of struggle. He thought about all the doors that had closed in his face, the people who told him he'd never make it. Shaq saw the hesitation. He leaned in. "I don't do handouts. I do opportunities. You either take it or you don't." The kid swallowed hard. He had been let down before. But something about Shaq, the way he spoke, the way he looked at him, like he actually saw something in him, felt real. Finally, he nodded. Shaq grinned. "All right then. First lesson starts tomorrow. 6 a.m. Don't be late." The young man exhaled sharply. This was it. For the first time in years, he didn't just feel like another face in the crowd. He felt seen. And he was ready. The morning air was crisp, the city still waking up. Street lights flickered off as the first rays of sunlight stretched across the basketball court. The young man stood there, hands on his hips, his hoodie damp with sweat. He had been here since 5:45 a.m. Shaq, dressed in a black tracksuit, checked his watch. "Not bad. You're early." The kid smirked. "Told you I was serious." Shaq nodded, bouncing the basketball in his hands. "Good, 'cause this ain't gonna be easy." The court became a battleground. Shaq pushed him through drills, footwork, speed, control. Every missed shot earned a correction. Every stumble met with a quick command to reset. The young man gritted his teeth, fighting through exhaustion, through doubt. By the time the sun was fully up, his muscles ached. His shirt clung to him. But when Shaq finally gave a nod of approval, something inside him clicked. He wasn't just some washed-up kid chasing a dream. He was a player again. Shaq clapped a hand on his shoulder. "You keep showing up like this, you'll go places." The kid wiped sweat from his brow. "So, what now?" Shaq smirked. "Now, you keep working, and when you're ready, I make a call." Months later, the arena lights shone bright. The TT crowd buzzed with energy, murmurs spreading about the mystery player joining the team. Backstage, the young man wrapped his hands, breathing deep. His first official game in years. Shaq stood beside him, arms crossed. "You ready?" The kid exhaled. Nodding, Shaq grinned. "Then go remind him who the hell you are." As the announcer called his name, the stadium erupted. And just like that, his second chance had officially begun. A comeback story worth remembering. Have you ever taken a chance that changed your life? Let us know in the comments. And if this story inspires you, subscribe now, because tomorrow we have another one for you.